Hello and welcome to another episode of the Mikkel Show. I really need some kind of a applause here, but I will probably mean more editing, so it probably won't happen. But yeah, welcome to another exciting episode of the Mikkel Show. At least I hope this will be exciting. Right now on the screen, you can see the different parts of the show the same as usual, but for newcomers, they can see what they have coming. So let's move on to the first segment of the show, which is current games. And to be honest, nothing much has changed. I have not finished any games, and I have not started any games, so which means I'm still playing The Darkness 2. Still having fun in that game. Really nice game. Really nice gameplay. Linear, but that really doesn't mean that a game is bad, even though I have heard a lot of people saying that that is bad for gaming. I think it's pretty cool. It's like playing a movie with an already fixed story, but you are in control, if that makes sense. I'm also playing Monkey Island 2. Haven't really gotten that much further. I am now in chapter 2 of Monkey Island 2. It's a pretty difficult game where not everything always makes that much sense. I have had to kind of look at the game guide a couple of times because it is kind of a difficult game. And I have completely now quit playing the Aurora World. I am looking for a new MMO. I don't know which it's going to be, so I'm not really going to talk much about that because that is in the future. I am also planning on playing some classic platforming games, but like the MMO, this is in the future, so and this is called current games, so we're not going to talk about that yet. Hopefully, I have finished at least one game by next video. So, now it's time to kind of get into the village. Oh my god, I can't believe I actually made that. It's I'm getting a hang of this controlling in third person, I say as I slam into the table. But let's get into first person. It's a hell of a lot easier to control. As you can always see, there's something big built over here. I'm not really sure if I like it myself. But now it's here. But also, like always, I have also changed something within the city. And we'll be looking at that first. Let's get through here. As you can probably see already, I have changed the look of this building. It used to be all cobblestone, well, except for the wood part. The stone part, except for the the thin one in the top. But this right here, oh crap! I just broke a hole in the wall. Excuse me. Here we go. Well, I forgot I was in creative mode. But yeah, that part of the wall which I just broke, and these down here, which I'm not going to break, they were all cobblestone, and I also placed this anvil. I put in a door, and I changed the bench here. The bench was actually the same color as the the walls, which I thought made looked a little odd. And I put in a window right here. And this was only one chest. Now it's a double chest. So I think this looks pretty cool. And will you please? Holy shit! There's a lot of people right here. Oh, sorry. But yeah, I think it looks a lot better now than it did before. If you can remember what it looked like, you can go back to one of my older videos and see. Now, let's actually get rid of this. Thank you. Let's get over here and have a look at this new thing that I have built. Hello, hello. Pleased to meet you. Please get out of the crops. I have not made an official path over here yet because I don't know what this area right here, the one I'm standing in, will be used for. So, I don't know. But yeah, here we are. A tower. I kind of like it. But I don't know. From this angle, it looks pretty cool. But if you get from afar, it looks kind of small. But I don't know. I kind of like the design. I used this design in a world earlier where I tried to make some medieval stuff. I think I posted a video about it a long time ago. Let's get in. And instead of stairs, I decided to use these because if you use stairs, it kind of looks weird. Let's go up. I actually managed to not have the wooden stairs cover any of the holes on the way up, which is pretty great. But yeah, this is a guard tower, and I can't. Oh, what? Okay, this is a guard tower. I think I messed it up somewhere, but anyway. So yeah, a little tower to protect the town from evil, and we get a nice aerial view of the place as well. And this entire roof is carried by this thin piece of stone. Yeah, but it looks cool. I kind of like this tower, but the reason I built this is because as you probably saw from the title of the video, FPS edition. That's right, we are talking about frames per second. Just kidding, we're talking about first-person shooters, and I didn't know exactly what to build, so I thought, why not a guard tower? This is where a sniper would be standing. Yeah, I talked a little bit about my early gaming history, and I'm going to now talk about another chapter in my gaming history, and that is the first-person shooter, because I've always been kind of fond of first-person shooters. One of the very first PC games I ever played was actually a first-person shooter. That was Spear of Destiny, which was this sequel, actually a prequel to Wolfenstein 3D. This was released in 1992. And of course, still very primitive in graphics, but a super fun game. I remember me and a friend playing it once, and it scared the living shit out of us because there was these guys who came out from around the corner and just shouted "Spear on!" and we would jump every time that happened. And it was a really, really fun game. I never played Wolfenstein 3D. I actually, now that I think of it, I actually never have played the original Wolfenstein 3D. I've only played Spear of Destiny, which was pretty much, well, I think it was exactly the same engine and almost the same graphics as Wolfenstein 3D. Let's actually look from outside. Ooh, nice. I have a brick in my hand. Let's get rid of that. But yeah, so that was the first-person shooter I've ever played. I never really played any of the Doom games. I think I might have tried them at a friend's house and stuff like that, but never really played them on my own. So I actually went on a couple of years before I tried my next first-person shooter, and that was actually, speaking of sequels to Wolfenstein 3D, because this game I'm about to mention was originally meant to be a sequel to Wolfenstein, but it didn't become a sequel to Wolfenstein. I'm talking about Rise of the Triad, which was released in 1995. That's right, before Doom. Apogee, who made Rise of the Triad, later known as 3D Realms, was actually the distributor for id Soft. They released Wolfenstein 3D and a couple of other id Soft games, including what's that called, Commander Keen, and they were actually also going to be the distributor for Doom. And while it was making Doom, they hired Apogee to make Wolfenstein 2. So of course, Apogee started doing that, but a little bit later, John Carmack, John Romero, um, came to Apogee and said they decided to release Doom on their own, and also to pretty much that Apogee should stop working on Wolfenstein 2, which, in my opinion, was kind of a douchey thing to do. Could have at least have waited, let them release the next Doom game, and then go solo for the rest of it. I don't know. I always had a kind of respect for Itsoft, but that was kind of an asshole move, in my opinion. And now, actually, in the news, just a side note, John Carmack is actually leaving Itsoft. Uh, that doesn't make sense. John Carmack is it. Is it? Get it? Never mind. But I guess he is. He wants to work on the what's it called, Oculus Rift thing. I don't know. I think it'll disappear in a couple of years. Okay. Side note. The Oculus. I don't like that, to be honest, because one of the things I like about gaming, well, I like gaming as a gamer itself, but I like to actually not be completely into the game. I kind of like the social part of it as well. When you sit around, maybe two friends or maybe more, and play, and just one plays, one watches, like, and do some backseat gaming, where the other one constantly says, hey, do that, do that, do that. And if the Oculus Rift gets really big and a lot of games will only be released for that and stuff like that, it kind of ruined that experience. I mean, I would be kind of annoyed if I'm sitting there with a mask on and can't see anything, and someone is talking to me saying that I should do a lot of things, but I can't see the actual person. I know, I don't know. And if I was alone, I don't think I would sit with a mask on anyway. I like actually having to look at a screen, and if I don't, and I can look to the sides. I don't know. Sorry. Let's actually do something really quickly. Time, set, day. There we go. But back to first-person history. So, my history, that is. So, Apogee now had all this material to make a game, but they couldn't make the game because it had said they shouldn't. So instead, they kind of put it all to the side and started working on other games. But a couple of years later, they decided to make something out of it and added some robots and some monks and some weird ass weapons and created what I still believe to be one of the greatest first person shooters, Rise of the Triad. And this is a really, really fun game. If you haven't tried it, you should. I'm not talking about the remake, I'm talking about the original one from 1995. It is super fun. You can turn into a dog. You get a baseball bat called Excalibur, and when you hold in the button, it shoots out tons of baseballs. You can become God. This is true God mode. You become a god. How many games do you become a god just by picking up some random shit lying on the floor? This is an amazing game. Another game I played in my early games as first-person shooters was actually a Macintosh game called Marathon. This was from 1994. Now, I don't have a Mac. I didn't have a Mac, but it seemed that everywhere you'd go at computer stores and stuff like that, they would have a Mac running. I mean, this was before the PC had really established itself as the number one gaming computer. The Mac still had some games going on, and one of them, of course, was Marathon. I can't really remember much of it other than it actually being a fun first-person shooter. And the engine it ran on was actually used on some PC games as well. I think the Marathon trilogy, they made 3 games in total, but the Marathon trilogy was actually later released for the PC. And now we come to the moment where I really truly became gamer. This was the best game ever created, 1996. If you've been on my channel for a while, you know what I'm talking about. I'm talking about Duke Nukem 3D. This was the game that kept me interested in gaming for lots of years. Well, since. And I really, really, really love Duke Nukem 3D. A friend of mine, my best friend at the time, he kind of got Quake when I got Duke Nukem 3D. So, and I must admit, I tried Quake at his house, of course, but Duke Nukem was the game for me. I love the humor. I love all the references to other games, to movies, to music, to pop culture, stuff like that. I love the weapons. The weapons were interesting. We had the Strinker, we had the Freeze Ray, the Devastator. Just a super fun game. And this game was actually going to be the last first-person shooter that I really, really got into for several years. But there were a few games that kept me interested as well. But I only bought these after Duke Nukem 3D, and one of them was Cybermage Darklight Awakening, which was kind of a first-person RPG kind of game with some cyberpunk type elements. And this was actually a quite interesting game. A lot of cartoon, like it came with a comic, and there was some really interesting cutscenes in it as well. Kind of semi-open world, and a really fun game. And one thing I've noticed is that later, like if you take a game like Bioshock, it looks like it was clearly influenced by Cybermage Darklight Awakening, because in Darklight Awakening, you actually can choose between a power, which is a hand that has some different kind of shots, or a weapon, and you change between the two, which is kind of like Bioshock. So I'm wondering if that has actually had an influence on the creators of Bioshock. Probably not, but an interesting thought. Cybermage Darklight Awakening, awesome game. Another game, and this is one of those games that I talked about where which ran on the Marathon engine, and it's called CPC, or Zero Population Count. This is a game made by, the graphic was made by a guy called Aidan Hughes, also known as Brute. Some of you might know him from, he made the covers for all of KMFDM, industrial rock band KMFDM, all their covers and a lot of their music videos. He's made a lot of front covers for the Linux magazine, and he's a great artist. And the way he has a really unique art style, and that made this game very unique as well. And the music for the game was made by Al Jokinson from Ministry. So, really interesting game. The only other game first-person shooter I truly played in that time was a very shitty game called Assassin 2015 from 1996. I think I still have it actually. It was really, really bad game. But like I said, Duke Nukem 3D would keep me into gaming for several years. I think at least 5 or 6 years I played that game without actually playing any other first-person shooters. Even though we have Quake 2, Unreal, Half-Life, games like these. I actually didn't play them because, well, I had Duke Nukem 3D. I was waiting for Duke Nukem Forever to come out, which of course it did eventually, and I'm one of the few people that actually liked it. But I did play some other games as well, but these were only in multiplayer. I never really been that much into multiplayer, but I must admit, Quake 2. A friend of mine had Quake 2, and they had 2 computers, so I went to his house and we played a lot of Quake 2 in multiplayer, and and we played some Counter Strike back when that was for Half-Life 2. No, Half-Life 1. We played. Was that Half-Life 2? No, that was Half-Life 1. Or was it? I can't remember. We played some Counter Strike, and we played some other mods for both Quake 2 and Half-Life. We played some Delta Force. Not really a first-person shooter, more a tactical shooter, I guess. But I liked it. Not really got into it. Quake 3, but not that much. I also went to a few computer cafes, but that we only mostly played built engine games. There, like for instance, what's it called? Redneck Rampage or Outlaws. Really not the best games in the multiplayer, but quite fun anyway. I also played a bit of games like Shadow Warrior, Blood, stuff like that, but it isn't until maybe 5 or 6 years ago I got back into some of the more modern first-person shooters. But that's a whole nother story. I'm gonna leave that for another time. This was mostly about the early days of first-person shooters and my early days mostly. I'm gonna talk a little bit about things I don't like about first-person shooters, and this goes for both modern and older ones. And one of the things I don't like is the iron sight thing. I talked about this in my fear video. It's the iron sight thing where you have to press where you have to press the button and then it goes into iron sight and you have to press it again to release it. I really hate that. I like when you just have to press and hold, and when you let go, you get out of iron sight. That is one thing. That's the way I like it. The other way, I hate that. Another thing I really hate about first-person shooters is when they put too much weight into the multiplayer part. Multiplayer will always, for me, be kind of a bonus that I don't use. But, and other than that, I think they should make games. There are games made for only multiplayer, and those, of course, yes, they put a lot of weight into multiplayer in those games. But for me, it will always be about the single player part. And that is why, and I think that's a shame that a lot of reviewers actually, I had saw a review of Wolfenstein from 2009, and it got really bad reviews because it had bad multiplayer. Come on, who cares? At least make two different reviews then. One for single player, one for multiplayer. I don't know, there's really not much I hate about first-person shooters. So, I guess that's all. There's small things, like I sometimes get annoyed when buttons get changed. For instance, if shift is not run. In every game, shift is run, and so why change it? In other games, but I mean, you can change the buttons yourself, so that really isn't that big of a problem. But I think that's most of what I have to say about first-person shooters, about my history with the first-person shooters. Like I said, I have played others than the ones I mentioned. These were just the early ones from before the year 2000. And I will probably make another video about some of the later ones as well. But let's get into first person. And is there a guy down here? I think I heard a guy. Yeah, there is. There's a guy down here. Oh, that's awesome. Hey! Oh, where are you going? Oh, is he actually going upstairs? I have to see this. I have to come on. Up. No, continue. Continue. Ow. Cool. I didn't actually think they would get this far away from the village. That's pretty cool. Yeah, I'll just shut the door and see you later. Let's turn it into day. Here we go. But yeah, that was my up close and personal. This was a little more about my computer history. Hey, you. Get out of there. Get out of there. How did you even get in? Well, I guess you could get in from... Okay, come on. Out. 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 I don't want you to get stuck in a minecart like this motherfucker. Oh, who keeps messing these up? Is it you? Oh, he doesn't even want to look at me anymore. Hey, look at me when I'm talking to you. Oh, God. I think he really hates me. Let's just clean up this place a bit. Oh, now he turned his back on me? Come on. Hey. Hey. You. You. Oh, God. He's actually... Okay, that was me pushing the cart. Oh, God. Let's get into the minecart. and into first person because it's become time for that part of the show called Movie of the Week. Now, I haven't actually watched any movies this week. Well, none that deserved to be part of this. So instead, I'm gonna talk about a movie I have bought this week. I saw this movie ages ago, well, 3 years ago maybe, but I bought it a couple of days ago. And that movie is Suicide Club, a Japanese movie from 2001 directed by Sion Sono. If I can pronounce his name right, that would be awesome. But yeah, this is an amazing movie. Maybe people have seen the opening scene 54 school children standing on like a subway platform. What the fuck? I need to close this off. But yeah, 54 school children standing on a train platform, counting down, holding hands, and when the train comes, they jump in front of it and splat blood everywhere. And that's just the beginning of the movie. And no, this is not exactly a gore movie, even though it could seem like that. Jesus Christ, what's with you guys in this place? But yeah, the movie is kind of a mind fuck. It's kind of David Lynch meets David Cronenberg meets Takashi Miike, and they all got a child together, and he was messed up. That's kind of the director that Shion Sono is, and this movie is all about messing with your head. This is about kids in Japan, school children in Japan, getting kind of committing suicide a lot. That is, of course, a real thing, unfortunately, that a lot of school children in Japan is committing suicide. This movie is a little more exaggerated, whereas they kind of do it more for just fun or dares. And this is a really weird movie. There's a scene in which one of the main villains kind of does a song and dance number in an abandoned bowling alley, while two people while a person inside a sack, some kind of bag or something, is killing another person, and it's just messed up. It's an amazing movie. Sion Sono has also made some other great movies, including Strange Circus and Noriko's Dinner Table. He's a really interesting Japanese movie director who hasn't really become that well known internationally yet. Hopefully he will. Suicide Club did catch the attention of a lot of people, especially because of the opening sequence. Jesus Christ, what's with you people? But yeah, this was my movie of the week. Now, this wasn't a movie I saw this week. This was a movie I bought this week instead. So let's get out of here. Oh, God. Up close koala. Those guys are like, what the hell was that? The koala just come flying at us. And yes, a koala did come flying at you. I am the flying koala. Away! And drop down back to Earth. And let's get into first person. Oh, motherfucker. Yeah, you said it. Motherfucker. You're getting out of here. Out! We're closed. This is a one-man show, and yeah. Shut up. There we go. Yeah, look at this. My tower. I like the design. I might change it a bit. Maybe maybe I should have like the light stones, like one over the door as well. And the hole above that one. Maybe. Yeah, this village is getting to... It's becoming pretty good. I think it looks great so far. But like I said, this is only the beginning. This is only the 6th show. And the village has already grown extremely. A lot of new people here as well. Although I placed them here But shh, we're not telling anybody. There's a pig. Hey, pig. Hey, look at me. Hey. Oh, yeah, you too, buddy. But let's get back to the studio. I think this is a pretty short episode. Not really sure. I said a lot, and they seem to be quite long anyway. Here we go. Ta-da! Koala. Yes, we've come to the last part of the show, which is, of course, called Spotlight, in which I talk about another YouTuber. This can be a small YouTuber, this can be a big YouTuber. Doesn't even have to be about gaming, but this time it is. The spotlight of the week is Gopher. Yes, that's right. His name is Gopher. He is, in fact, a gamer. He mostly makes some Skyrim and Fallout videos. I am currently watching his Fallout New Vegas modded walkthrough, which is amazing. Instead of just going through the game, he kind of plays it very immersive. Thinks about what would his character do instead of what would he do. He also has a very intelligent approach to the game. Him being seems to be a very intelligent guy, so he kind of thinks a little about what he wants to do instead of just doing it. He's constantly adding new mods, but all of them seems to be adding more to the game instead, and as in good things, not just messing up the game. As when I mod it, I kind of just put on whatever mod I seem would be interested in, instead of thinking how well would they go together. He also plays some Skyrim, and I think he just played some Outlast. I saw a few of his videos, but I decided to stop watching them because I might actually want to play the game myself. But yes, Gopher, he is a British guy who lives in Norway, which is kind of weird. At first, when I learned that he lived in Norway, I thought, well, he has a very British accent, and it turned out, of course, he was, in fact, British. And I like British accents. I do. I don't know why. It just makes everybody sound smarter, unless, of course, you're from one of those British accents that makes people sound dumber, because those exist as well. But yeah, I think this is it for this show, and I have no idea if this is longer, shorter, or even more interesting or less interesting. That's the thing about this show. I am just gonna talk about random shit. And if you don't like it, you don't like it. If you love it, you love it. And that's the way it's going to be. Now, I hope you had fun. I hope you enjoyed this. And remember to check out some of my other videos. And if you liked what you saw, well, give it a thumb up. If you just want to support my channel, give it a thumb up. If you kind of think this was okay or decent, give it a thumb up. And never press the dislike button. If you do, I will come to your house and bite your fucking nose off. That's right, I'll bite your nose off because I'm a koala. They bite noses off people, I think. Probably not. Well, there probably has been, at one point in history, a koala that bit the nose off something. Maybe it was another koala. Maybe it was an elephant. I don't know. I don't know how a koala would bite their nose off an elephant, since they don't even live on the same continent. Maybe it was in a zoo. Who knows? But, like I said, give the video a like. And if you haven't yet subscribed, it's becoming nighttime. That was not a... That didn't make any sense. But if you haven't yet subscribed, go ahead and subscribe, because we're going to have a lot of fun on this channel. There's going to be a few changes in the upcoming couple of days, actually. Maybe, perhaps, I'm not really sure, so I should probably not have said anything. But I am a koala in a suit, and that is my excuse. Hope you had fun. Like I said, once again, like, favorite, comment, subscribe. And I'll see you next time. Tally ho!